Hi, and welcome to the All Things ITSM Global Podcast. We're coming to you from ITSM 15 in London. I'm Kirsty McGowan. I'm here with James Finister.
Hello.
Patrick Bolger.
Hi.
And we have the pleasure of speaking to Ollie O'Donoghue
Hello.
from SDI. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, Ollie, SDI have, I believe, recently completed a benchmarking exercise. So to start off, can you tell us a little bit about that and what you found?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So it's probably our most ambitious research project that SDI do currently. I think it's been running for 7 editions. We run it every 2 years. And this one in particular, it's the first one that I've ever done. And we look at all of the past data from the previous 6 years and then come up with this 7th one. And we've had some really interesting data come through. One of the most notable for me is that we always ask this question: how do you know if you're performing well as a service desk? And up until now, so for 6 entire surveys, people said we ask our customers. If our customers are happy, we're happy. But in this one, there's a massive shift. And people are still asking their customers, but what they're really relying is on data. So performance data. So are we hitting our SLAs? Is first contact resolution where we want it to be? And as a result, are our customers happy? So they've kind of flipped it on its head.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I mean, it also
I'm
suggests
quite interested by that.
people weren't looking at the data in the past, then you believe? Or?
Yeah, so I think technology, particularly ITSM tools, have come a long way. Just in the last 2 years, 4 years even, the reporting functionality that's just built in to ITSM tools now mean it's a lot easier to get exactly what you need, that business information. So before you had to go out and approach the people who are using the service, now you can just completely analyse the data in that service.
But I also think it's easier now, certainly with tools, to actually triangulate the data. So whereas before you were measuring specific measures and not really comparing, we'll say first time resolution against, we'll say number of calls that are reopened against customer satisfaction, and it's much, much easier to do that now with the tools that are out there.
Yeah, and that in its way that brought up an interesting anomaly, because we ask which of these do you measure, and there was a big jump in some of them where people saying we don't measure those anymore, and it's not that they don't measure them, it's just they don't look at that data in that way.
Right.
So like you say, it's first contact resolution, but it's mixed with other things. It's mixed with 2 or 3 other pieces of data that gives them that metric. So when you say, do you report against first contact resolution rates, they say no. However, we do use it for these things.
Right. But the customer satisfaction is still a key linchpin in that, because I mean it's always I think it's that the whole watermelon effect, where everything can be nice and green on the outside, but you've got red traffic lights flashing away in the middle because you don't, you've still got an unhappy customer regardless of what the statistics say, what the metrics are telling you.
Yeah. So performance. The customer satisfaction now forms part of this suite, this reporting suite. Right. So event feedback and periodic feedback, it's a lot easier. It used to be kind of stored, you'd email out how happy are you, they'd reply and it'd go in an Excel spreadsheet, but now it can be built into the system. Right. So as soon as somebody says they're happy, straight into the system, straight into the real-time reporting functionality. Right. So you don't have to do the laborious thing of going out and asking, you know it already.
Yep.
But actually still it's quite a challenge for service desk to actually get a response even from the customers, because let's face it, I mean you generally will reply to a survey when either you're extremely happy or extremely unhappy, and
no
the bit in the middle
ever does it.
bit in the middle is actually difficult. But one of our customers, it was really interesting, they got their response to survey up from 8% to 38% by doing one thing, really simple. Change all the surveys, no more questions. So you had a green kind of smiley face, an amber kind of poker face, and a red unhappy face. And all the customers to do is click on one of those and put an optional comment in if they want. And they went to 38% in the space of a week just by doing that. So I think it's important as well when you give negative feedback, does someone actually do anything with it? Did the survey ask anything about kind of negative feedback and actions that?
Yeah, so we ask about kind of complaints, and one of the really interesting things that perhaps we'll ask in the next time is response rate. What is the industry average response rate? So it's interesting what you've said about taking all of those really long and complex questions that people were turned off. Because actually, I used to work for Kent County Council, who used your product, and we did exactly the same thing. It was positive, neutral, negative, and the rate went up. So as soon as it was a neutral and negative, you would then approach that customer and say, let's have more information, let's get it sorted.
What's gone wrong?
Because that's where the gems is, that's where the real value is, in the kind of neutral or negative stuff, because basically we're clearly not doing something right there.
Yeah.
There's your opportunity to improve.
Yeah, that's your conversation
Yeah.
starter.
The
You're not
positive
happy about
stuff is-
something. What can we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the neutrals are the really, really good ones because often they're easy wins. So this is someone who's just like, I'm not completely
Yeah.
impressed. However, if you did this slightly different, I
Yeah.
would be. And it's really easy to change that over. But they're often the ones that are left out.
So what about service improvement? Is there any focus in the survey on service improvement and what people are actually doing?
Not currently, because it's benchmarking.
Right,
So it's
okay.
difficult to apply
Right.
specific service improvements. But what we do ask at the end is kind of a series of questions such as, do you now feel like you're getting the return on investment from some of your technology procurements? And that's another interesting one, because previously it was quite a negative number, as in we don't use all the functionality that we have. We probably only get 50% of what we need from it. Whereas now that seems a lot higher. And I think, again, that all ties in with ITSM technology just jumping, this massive jump where you at the touch of a button, you have everything.
Yeah. Do you think that shift away from customer satisfaction towards data as well is potentially driven by a change in the way service desk operates, in terms of we're using more self-service? And asking customer satisfaction about self-service is a different type of question than asking it about
It is, very
talking to a
different.
service desk agent. Do you think that's driving some of the changes you're seeing?
Yeah, so the way our customers ask for and receive service has changed massively, changed enormously. Self-service is now a big one. We're starting to see self-help, peer-to-peer support, which is I know something we've talked before
we have
within the
indeed.
confines of a report. So it's often not appropriate for a service desk analyst to go out and say, how did I do there? Because as far as the customer is concerned, they may not have actually done anything. They have, they've written the knowledge articles and they've pushed it out, but that's not the customer's experience.
No, unless you've actually proactively helped
Yes,
somewhere, then you're not. Yeah, the questions are quite different, aren't they?
Yeah,
What you can ask your customer.
Yeah, did you find that article useful?
Was there any indication from the survey about kind of things like we said, peer-to-peer support or self-help? Because I think Stephen Mann was presenting at the Service Desk show this year and basically mentioned that only 17% of kind of requests, if you like, or incidents, whatever it is, actually are recorded in an official manner through the Service Desk. So much more is going on with people kind of Googling stuff and helping each other, asking a colleague. And I'm wondering how much of that actually gets captured.
Again, it's because the benchmarking survey approaches service desk managers.
Yes, of course.
They don't know,
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, they probably have a feeling that 80% of the stuff is Googled or it's been dealt with another way, but they can't write it down in figures. And I suppose once the ITSM technology's made that extra jump where it's kind of touching everything, then we'll finally get to see that
find
picture.
those answers. But
The other side of this, in terms of changing behaviours via self-service, is there any indication from the survey about the type of things people are ringing the service desk to talk about? Is it still primarily technical queries? Is it more business-facing queries?
Yes, we break things down into instance and service requests. So from that we can draw some conclusions. We don't ask for too much data in that respect, because different organisations lump things in different categories and it might be a bit misleading. But what we seem to find is that service requests have gone up, incidents have gone down. And that's for me, that's a technology thing. Technology is more proactive. It tells us things that we've got monitoring tools now that tell us, watch out, that's going down in a minute, let's fix it before anyone knows about it. But people are using the services that IT provides. They are asking for that laptop, they are asking for advice, they are asking for equipment to be moved still.
I think Service Desk has begun to differentiate. I mean, it's not uncommon still when we go out and talk to people to find one big bucket that everything goes into.
yes, it still happens.
Still happens, but
I mean, we live in a little bubble in our little ITSM
but
world. We
more
think
and
that
more-
everyone knows what we know.
But more and more organisations are now making the distinction.
Yes.
Is it an incident? Is it a service request? And I think that probably will have some effect on the numbers as well. So more people are actually categorising things properly.
Yeah, and I think in our early days, quite a lot of things that retrospectively were a service request probably came in as an incident. You know, my keyboard's broken. Well, actually, I just want a new one.
That's right.
I guess the other shift there in terms of thinking, where we always just think incidents were really, really important because they're impacting the business. In actual fact, as you say, the volumes of service requests going through, it's service requests which are actually the watermark for whether or not IT is delivering. Because if you can't service a basic service request in a certain amount of time, the business think you're failing, don't they?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think one of the big risks you've got there, to use the keyboard as an example. So if you've gone to IT and said, "Can I have a new keyboard?" and they say it's going to take 30 days, you're more likely to go to Curry's and get a
Yeah.
keyboard.
Buy it yourself.
But it's a
and-
different model, and when
Just
the
take a bit
engineer
of petty
comes out-
cash and
Yeah,
go and buy it. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah, you're
exactly.
not going to wait for IT to take 30 days to source one.
Absolutely.
So that also brings up the thorny issue of shadow IT.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any indication from what's happening at the service desk about how prevalent shadow IT is in the business? Or
See,
does that-
I avoided saying shadow IT.
Mm-hmm.
I read too much
Yeah.
about shadow IT. I've written about it quite occasionally.
Yeah.
So not specifically in that benchmarking report, but what I do tend to find is when I go out and audit with the service desk certification program, is service desk managers are very aware of it, and they're now very aware of how branding's really important. So how they market their services, so people know that they can come to IT with perhaps the more bizarre requests that they have. You know, something that might be out of the ordinary, not quite what you'd usually expect, instead of just taking all of this money and going outside of the organisation and running all of that risk. So the awareness has certainly increased. Whether or not we're in a position where we can monitor everything in the organisation, particularly some of the big enterprise organisations that I've been to, I'm not seeing it yet.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to get rid of shadow IT. It's just a matter of how IT starts to manage the situation that's been caused by it.
Yeah, so universities are a great example actually. We do a lot of auditing work with universities, and they've embraced it because you can't fight it. There's no way of
can't
fighting
fight it.
students bringing in
That's
an
like
iPad.
5 years ago, the whole bring your own device. I mean, now bring your own device is just business as usual, isn't it? It's what happens.
There was a really interesting comment from one of our customers, again a university, who basically said they decided to become basically a proper service desk in that, look, we'll try to fix anything. Actually, we may not be able to do it, we may not know about the application you have or the device you're using, but we'll try.
Do the
we'll
best
do what
we
we
can. Yeah.
And I remember talking to Stuart about the way things change, and he said, overnight, he said, we turned from a kind of a break fix into a help centre, and they really, really wanted to call this, they wanted to talk, and he said we couldn't deal with everything, but they accepted that, and he said the nature of the service desk was much more engaged with the organisation as a whole.
Well, they're meeting the needs of the organisation that they're in. Yep. Anyway, we need to finish here, I'm afraid, Ollie. It was a very good chat, so I'll have to have a closer look at your results.
Please do. Yeah.
And before we go, how do people get access to it? Just on the SDI?
Yes, it's on. So it's sponsored by Landesk, so it's on their website, so you can
Great.
get hold of it from there.
Okay.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Ollie.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ollie.